Okay, welcome to Natmet Podcast. Once again, my name is Princeton. So Arsenal have lost Kai Havertz to injury and is out for the rest of the season, with Saka and Gabriel Jesus, also Martinelli, out of the season as well. We're discussing can the Gunners chase for titles without a recognized number 9. I've got two of Arsenal's fans, biggest one of course, Leroy Hodgson and Daniel Idiglu, to do this discussion as fans. So you can also give us your comments and as Arsenal fans, what you think about this whole issue as this show is live on YouTube. So guys, welcome you to the podcast. Leroy, good to see you once again.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Going to be an interesting discussion today, Charlie.
Yeah. And Daniel, welcome. Thanks for joining us too.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Charlie, it's nice to see you guys, and welcome to our listeners and viewers.
Thank you. We are recording this at the time where Arsenal have just named their squad for the West Ham game in the Premier League. That's about 1 hour time. And Merino is starting after that impressive win against Leicester last week. He came from bench to give us now 2 goals to grab the 3 points. Let me take your thoughts on this. Are you surprised? I mean, are you? What's your reaction to this decision by Arteta? I mean, obviously, after scoring those 2 goals, you would expect him to bring him into the squad. But to start him as a number 9, what does he say about it, Leroy?
Okay, so yes, he has been picked as a number 9, but I don't think his role is going to be as a out and out number 9. I think that he's going to be dropping deep. As a typical Arteta striker is going to is used to doing, and linking up play with the wide forwards as well. I think that Merino is actually the best option for Arsenal right now, seeing as Sterling has basically lost his feet, and Trossard has been quite inconsistent this season. So having someone in there who will be able to hold up play, get the ball to the wide forward, and also attack the box, as Merino is good at doing. I think that that's the best option for Arsenal at the moment. I think that Arteta has made the right decision here, and with the best that we have, because the fact of the matter is Arsenal don't have a number 9 at the moment. I feel like when Saka comes back from injury, it's most likely going to be Waneri going to be starting as the number 9, and Merino will probably go back. But for now, I think this is the best Arsenal can do, and there's no problem there. I think Arteta has proven, especially in the Leicester City game, that he's able to adapt his system and his tactics to fit a problem, and that's one thing I really love about Arteta. He knows how to adapt his system to get the best out of his team, and I know that he's come up with something that we'll be looking forward to seeing as he takes on Graham Potter's West Ham today. Sorry.
Daniel, your reaction?
Well, so I feel it's a step in the right direction that he had to start Merino today, because watching Sterling last week was just so painful. I mean, you look at how the guy couldn't dribble, he just couldn't make any cross. It was like the team was playing out of order. Whilst Trossard, who we were playing as a false 9, was actually in the middle, not creating anything, instead of putting him on the wings where he thrives. So I believe using Merino as a 9 today, it showed last week when he came on and scored 2 goals. It was just an experiment. But I feel today it gives him the chance to prove that he can actually be there, or days where he can be where the team needs him. So it also tests the mantle of how he can link up play, because Arsenal keeping him at 9 is mostly about whether he can. Playing as a striker at Arsenal is not mostly about shooting and then creating chances, because when you look at how strikers play at Arsenal, it's mostly about linking up play. Look at the numbers of Kai Havertz. You could tell that there weren't much clear-cut chances put in front of him, but it was more of him linking up play with Saka, him linking up play with Trossard or the Gabriel Martinelli on the wings, or dropping deep to set up goals for his other colleagues. So it's more of how we are going to determine whether he can link up play more, because I'm not sure Ateta will tell him be a fox in the box and then they will create chances for you to score. It's mostly going to be about drop deep and try to what? Be like attack the goal or drive to attack the goal, but mostly to be, I'm sure you are going to see him a lot more in the attacking third of Arsenal. Of West Ham. And well, I think it's okay. It's the only thing we have now. I would say
Right.
it's the best decision, but it's the only decision we have now. There is no option.
That's the option
So
Arteta has.
to watch Merino in attack is better than to watch Sterling try to dribble. That's my take.
That's interesting. But I mean, that is us now, and that's how they decided to do business in a transfer window. They had the opportunity to sign a striker, and they opted for Sterling. Obviously, Chelsea wanted him out, and if you have a player like Sterling in your squad, he has squad depth, and you can use him in some instances in situations like this. But it hasn't worked out. I want to ask you guys: do you think Arsenal made a mistake by not signing a striker? Yes, you always been supporting your club in their decision making. But honestly speaking, for me, I think that the club should have signed a number 9, someone who would be a goal poacher for the team, and in games where you have to grind for results, that person will fish out the game, the point for you. Away game at Everton is never going to be easy. An away game at Crystal Palace, you need players that are going to fish out the goals for you. Maybe Arsenal should have signed a striker, isn't it, Daniel?
Yes, I think Arsenal should have actually signed a striker. From the beginning of the season, from the summer transfer windows, it was clear we needed to sign an out-and-out striker, a top striker who was going to bang in the goals. And then we also needed a winger. Even though one of the worst decisions I think we did was to actually let Reece Nelson leave for Sterling to come in, because what has Sterling offered the team? Reece Nelson is still young. He's hungry to prove to Arteta that this is where he belongs. He's a hell end product. So he has more to prove than for a Sterling who has played in virtually some of the best teams in in England. He's played for Liverpool, he's played for Man City, he's played for Chelsea, and he won trophies there. So bringing him to Arsenal wasn't the right decision at all, because he hasn't proved it, and then he's just not the kind of the winger we needed. And the issue of striker, I believe we should have actually gone for a striker if we were not getting our main target. We should have gone for someone a striker. We should have gone for I'm sure Arsenal had a list. We didn't only have a list of 2 strikers we wanted to go for. There should be at least about 5 strikers on the list. If your first and second targets are not available, why not try the third? I mean, you have a near perfect team. You can create chances, but you are not scoring. You don't have a striker who is getting at least 15 league goals in a season, and you decide to go in another season without a striker who is getting you another 15 goals a season. It's how do you call it? It's worrying. It's a worrying situation to go into a season without a striker who is getting 15 goals, at least 15 goals. And then we had the chance to correct it in the January transfer windows, and then we decided that okay, we wanted to go for Shesko, and then the typical Arsenal strategy. They will sniff around the player, ask for the price about 3 or 4 times, make inquiries, and then they will put in a bid. And you make inquiries of the situation. They tell you the player will only leave in the summer. But have you put money down? Have you sent a formal offer to tell them that, hey, we are trying to sign him? Some clubs' heads will be turned by the money they see, the offer they see on their table. Look at a player like Omar Mamouche moving to Man City. Initially, if you have gone to, how do you call it, and tried Frankfurt and asked them that, are they selling Omar Mamouche? They'll say no, because he's their top striker. He was leading the Bundesliga goal scoring chart. But still, City put some money, put a bid in. It turned their head. They decide that no, it is the best time to sell him, because come the end of the season, he's going to leave for a cheaper price than that. So I feel Arsenal didn't act well. At the end of the day, in the last minute, you now put in a bid for Oli Watkins. Aston Villa are definitely going to reject it, because they have just lost one of their strikers. You didn't give them enough time to actually plan for who they will replace Oli Watkins with. So if you really needed a striker, you should have just even before the window started, you should have just put in a bid, because the transfer seasons, the January transfer window, it doesn't. You are not limited to putting in a bid in January. You can put in a bid before January, and when it's accepted, it's January that you have to register the player. So I think Arsenal board didn't act right. They were just being too stingy, and I mean, it goes on and on. There are other strikers we could have looked at. There is Jonathan David at Leo that we could have looked at. There are wingers we could have looked at. There are players we could have looked at. But going into the rest of the season thinking, oh, we have Kai Havertz, so we don't need to go for any other striker, because Kai Havertz is strong. He's not
Hello, Daniel.
showing this kind of fatigue. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Princeton.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can hear.
I think I lost it for a little bit. So, if you can hear me, Leroy, let's talk about the options they had in the transfer market. Obviously, Isak is the outstanding one. Oli Watkins, also the Benjamin Sesko. How do you assess Arsenal's approach for a person for a striker?
Here's the
Isak
thing.
is a big ask. I mean, you have to put in a lot of money for him. Do you think they did enough to get, or they are so fixated in that type of player they want, that player who can fit into the Arsenal style?
Okay, so here's what I think went down. I feel like Arsenal wanted to fix that left side issue they had with Martinelli. Martinelli was being kept way wide when they wanted him to be more in the inside area where he's more effective. So that's why they went for Calafiori, and they wanted to just fix that left hand side. And they also went for Merino as well, so that they could fix that left hand side. And they thought to themselves that getting a striker at this point in time was probably not the best option, because they had Kai Havertz, they had Gabriel Jesus, they had Saka, they had Trossard, they had Martinelli, who could all fit in those systems. They weren't predicting half of them to go to be lost for the entire season. I don't think anybody would have predicted something like that happening, especially with players like Saka, who has been very, very consistent for a very long time. Same with Havertz. So I think they thought to themselves that it would be rather, let's keep this team together, save the money now, and then probably go in next season or the next summer window, when someone like Sesko has already made an agreement, a gentleman's agreement with RB Leipzig to go for around 60 million euros. Isak, if Newcastle doesn't qualify for the Champions League, there's a likelihood he will also leave, sure, for a lot of money, but still the price will not be as big as let's say they do qualify for the Champions League. So they were making these kinds of, I think that's what they were doing. They were making those kinds of analysis and said to themselves, okay, so look, let's just work with what we have, and then next season when we qualify for the Champions League, we have a lot of money from commercial, we have a lot of money from this, we can bid 100 million pounds for Isak, so that next season we will have that a team or that striker that we need for the team. So I kind of understand that logic, but then again, because you have Havertz who fits Arteta's system. Sure, he's not a prolific striker. He's not going to score you 20 goals. He's not going to score you 15 goals a season, but he's going to be that outlet for other players to bounce off to sort of get to that level. We can see that Saka was going to have an incredible season if not for the injury that he sustained. Martinelli fixing that left-hand side will probably lead to him also getting to that level of scoring probably 15 goals in a season. But again, it didn't really work out. So you would think that in the January transfer window, you probably think to yourself, let's get a number 9. But then again, Šeško has a gentleman's agreement to leave Leipzig at the end of the season, not at the January transfer window. So if you're going to offer a deal to Leipzig, it's going to be far more than what you expect. Then you have someone like Isak. Isak isn't going to leave Newcastle at the end of the season. There's no way Newcastle is going to allow that to happen. So you know what? That is also off the table. So now Arsenal wanted the next best thing, probably Ollie Watkins. But again, I don't think that's what Arsenal needed at that point in time, because one, the age profile doesn't really sit well with me, because he's probably getting to the latter point of his career. So probably you get him for maybe 1-2 good seasons, and that's basically it. So you would want to get a player more in his prime than Ollie Watkins, who is probably getting to the latter point of his career. So I kind of understand the logic, but then again, you sit down and think to yourself, look, you've lost half of your forwards. You need to bring someone in. And the fact that they were looking for a loan was sort of like, nah, look, this was not what you needed. I know you want to get that your number one choice in Isak, and if not Isak, you get your number 2 choice in Šeško. But Charlie, you needed a forward. You needed someone. And I'm hoping that the rumors I'm hearing about the free agency is true, and probably we'll be bringing in Bobby Firmino. But that's going to be an interesting thing, because like, would Bobby Firmino want to come to Arsenal to ruin his dear Liverpool's team's chances of winning the Premier League? I don't know. We will see. But there are other options there. Maybe we can get them in for like a 6-month contract to help Arsenal probably win the league, because right now Liverpool is vulnerable. Liverpool has started to get to the point where they are dropping points. So this is the perfect opportunity for Arsenal, who is probably on one of the best runs of forms in, I don't know, the last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But yeah, I think that, yeah.
Leroy, look at a team that is fighting for a title. Mm-hmm. You don't get a lot of chances to be in a title race that much.
Yeah.
You are in your 3rd season fighting for a title, and then you have the chance to at least go for a striker who completes your team to win the title. Look at Liverpool when they signed Van Dijk. They had gone in the summer or so, and then they were told that they won't allow them to sign. They had angered Southampton or so.
Yeah.
But just in January, they put in an astronomical bid, and they got him because they were desperate to win the title. But this is Arsenal. You've not won the title in about 20 years, and you want to win
over 20 years.
About 20 years. You have to take a bold step. You have to take an ambitious step.
Just to add to your point, I agree. I mean, that Van Dijk transfer was that missing piece Liverpool had to fix.
Yes.
And when they did that, the very next game, Van Dijk showed clearly that this was what they needed. Yes. He scored in the game to give them the win. And since then, he's been the focal point in Liverpool's team. He's been that. Everything depends on Van Dijk. I mean, if you take out Salah, who is the master of scoring in the league now, Liverpool's system. I remember when they lost Van Dijk to injury in one of the seasons, I think 2021. Liverpool season were in shambles because they had lost Van Dijk. He started the attack for them,
Yeah.
and his defensive attribute is incredible. So, if you bring this to Arsenal's case, you need that type of player who would take the team to the next level. Who would, as I mentioned earlier, you need players, and it cuts across every winning team. That Chelsea winning team, they had Drogba. Even if it bring it forward to the league winning team in 2016, Diego Costa was there. Leicester City had a certain Jamie Vardy who would pop up and get them the goals. And I get a point that you score a lot of goals. So we'll come to the numbers for Arsenal this season. And I think that's why it's deceiving some people that Arsenal are scoring goals and goals and goals. So they don't necessarily need a number 9. But for me, you need the goal pushers. Why I'm saying this is Kai Havertz is the top scorer for Arsenal this season, 15 goals in all competitions, 8 in the Premier League. But if you look at the table, I was looking at it before we start this. He is ahead of Cody Gakpo for Liverpool, who scored 8. And Havertz has played more minutes than him. So it brings me to the question of Arsenal depending on Kai Havertz this season. And yes, Saka, and I know that you play, the outlets are the source of the goals for Arsenal, Saka and then Martinelli. But for Kai Havertz to be the top scorer in the team this season, and for you to miss him in this crucial moment, it really hurts the team. I want to take your thoughts on how it's going to impact the team going forward, and what's the implication on the team in the games. You have the Champions League also coming up. You have Premier League games, big games coming up, of course. You're going to play Chelsea and other teams as well. Then we'll take that one for me.
Yes, so when you look at Kai Havertz's profile, he started as an attacking midfielder. And I believe Arsenal, when they were signing him, they gave him the assurance that he's not going to be a striker, because you look at how he was playing at Chelsea, he actually hated playing as a striker. But, so when he came to Arsenal, he was actually playing as an attacking midfielder, arriving late in the box to pounce on crosses and then maybe get one or few goals. And the point was to get a striker who would be our out and out striker. But it turns out that later he had to be converted to the striker that he didn't like to play. But Arteta found a way to convince him to play. That's the same. I believe Merino has a similar profile to Kai Havertz. When you look at where they were initially brought in to play, Kai Havertz was brought in to be an attacking midfielder, a left-sided midfielder, and same as Merino. And then they both ended up being strikers because of circumstances. So I believe the profile of Kai Havertz is more of a supporting striker role. So imagine you have a top striker, and then who maybe he's going through a rough patch playing as a striker. That's where you push Kai Havertz a little forward to be as a supporting striker. So he arrives in late, he comes in to play one or two interplays or link up play, and then he will help with alleviating the goal scoring chances or goal scoring opportunities burden off him. But bringing him in and then putting him as a striker, I don't think that's what we should be doing. We should have even looked at, because look at his numbers. He's our top scorer, and he's our top scorer in the league, and he has 8 goals. That's way down. 8 league goals. Like that's way down the pecking. Look at the top scorers. There's Chris Wood.
Brian Bromo of Brentford.
Yes, there's Chris Wood, a 30-something-year-old Chris Wood, who scored more than 15 goals. There are a lot of players who scored more than him, and you are like a team fighting for the title. So it's just, I think it's just poor planning on the part of the board to think that Kai Havertz was actually our striker who was going to win us the league. I mean, Arteta should know better. Arteta had Ramsdale. He bought Ramsdale. He knew Ramsdale is not a goalkeeper who was going to take him to help him win the league, and went in for what? Raya. And Raya has proven that he's the kind of keeper you need to work in a league title, because he's shown the composure, he's shown the grace to be there. So I mean, putting Havertz there as a striker, his profile is not more of a striker. He's more of an attacking midfielder. So I believe his position in the team should be defined. If you are playing him as a striker, we should let him know, hey, you are playing as a striker, or you are playing as a backup striker. Your main role is to be attacking midfield. But pushing him there and then not getting someone hasn't helped. That's my take on it.
Leroy, who do you think would be perfect for this setup?
I think Arsenal wants Isak. It seems very, very obvious. Arsenal wants Isak. It's because the only reason why
it's not the case of he's shining, and so I mean the popular guy amongst the targets would certainly be there.
I feel like when you look at the situation, the only reason Arsenal would not sign a particular player right now is that they want to bid for they want a player who is going to cost a lot of money, and they want to sort of save up that money for that player. So if you say, like, let's say you go and buy, that's why I feel like they waited from the last minute when they realized that, oh my God, we really do need a striker, that they went for Oli Watkins. I feel like they wanted a player who was going to cost a lot of money. Let's say it's going to cost the amount of money of a Declan Rice, because let's say someone like Sesko will probably cost 80 to 70 mil. You can bid for that. I feel Arsenal has the money to bid for that. But I don't think they want Sesko, because Sesko is not a finished article. He's more of a development project. He's going to be someone who will take, let's say, 6 months or something to fit into the system and then come into the system and sort of develop. But if you bring in Isak is someone who's going to be fit into this Arsenal team seamlessly. He's the kind of striker that Arteta likes. He's going to be good at holding up the play. He's going to be good at finishing the chances that are given to him. So I feel like that's the player Arsenal want, and because they want him, and that is Arteta. Arteta, when he wants a player, he wants a player. He doesn't change his mind. He doesn't like going for his second best option. He wants a particular player. He goes for that particular player. So in his mind, he wants Isak. That is, to me, what is stopping Arsenal from getting a striker right now. They want a particular striker who's going to cost a lot of money, and it is obviously Isak.
Right.
And they could have even gotten him before Newcastle did.
True.
Yeah.
But now you're going to have to pay around £100 million for him.
There are stories that they were targeting him even at Ross like that. I mean, if he gets what he wants, then I guess there's no excuse for him to land the trophy at Arsenal. Yeah, but it might not be the Premier League, but the Champions League is still.
My problem is that this is sort of like the perfect time for Arsenal to win the league. Man City has been completely out of it because of the Rodri injury and one or two things. Right now, they have sort of come back with getting a number of signings who are probably going to help them get back to the top four, not necessarily win the league. So this is the perfect time to win the league. But because you have an idea of a striker you want, you decided that there is no other option. So I'm going to stick with that option. He's the striker I want. Because if you look at it right now, Arsenal next season is going to be targeting Isak, most likely going to be targeting Nico Williams, because I am sure Trossard will probably go. Looking at the situation, it looks like Trossard will probably not be part of Arsenal. You need another midfielder to sort of back up Odegaard, which I think they want Naipan from. There's the Norwegian guy, Naipan. That's why I think he's going to be sort of like the Odegaard backup. Wanyeri is going to be the Saka backup, obviously. In terms of defensive midfield, Zubomendi is coming in. We all know it. So the fact of the matter is, the only position right now Arsenal need to change is the striking role. So they want to put all their focus onto that. It's so obvious.
Let's see
That's
how.
what they want.
Let's see how it goes.
Now let's say Kai Havertz gets complications with his injury. Then we will now have to go for two strikers.
Of course.
Yeah, because I'm sure Gabi Jesus will probably be let go at the end of the season.
Yeah.
He will probably be let go.
Let's see how the season will play out. But for the meantime, they have to keep the title race intact. They have to chase with the squad that they have, and Arteta has to find solutions. I mean, if you look at the position of the team now, second place in the Premier League, still in contention for the title, 53 points, 7 away from Liverpool, if I'm right.
Yeah, but with the game in hand.
Right.
Yeah, 8, but with the game in hand.
8 points behind Liverpool now.
51 squad. They're still close to the best of teams. But I was also looking at how he can also challenge or be competitive with the players he has, especially the academy guys. I was looking at players like Nathan Butler Oyedeji, who's 22 years in the under 21 side. He's playing in the Premier League 2. He scored 7 goals and 6 assists for us now. Maybe a player he could be graduating into the first team. Should Merino also accidentally get out of the team? And also, there's also Kayon Edwards, another brilliant player, 7 goals, and then in 10 games for the Premier League 2 side. So this could be the time for these young chaps to be popping up, especially when Nathan and Luis Maskeli has also popped up. First of all, what have you made of their performances, Leroy, these 2 young chaps? Because I'm wondering if they were not there, Arsenal would have been in a very dire situation.
Oh yeah, our Hill End boys have done very, very well. It's kind of interesting to see us find 2 Premier League ready players in our Hill End academy. It seems like every generation we get at least 2 or 3 players we can look at and say these guys are the next breed of Arsenal. Wanyeri has done quite well. I feel like if Merino goes injured, we'll probably be forced to use Sterling, and Wanyeri will probably be the number 9 in that system, because he has played there before. I'm not going to say he is a natural number 9, but he has played there before and has done quite a lot over there. But looking at our academy, this is when I sort of miss Chido Obi Martin. I don't know about Daniel, because the fact of the matter is, if we had Chido right now, it would have been perfect for us. I feel like he would have been. This would have been probably his time to shine, to prove to Arsenal fans that he is him, as they say. But unfortunately, we do not have him. He's at the other side of Manchester. That is United, not City.
I'm sure by now he would have been training with the first team.
I mean, I'm very, very sure even if he had signed, he'd have been part of that first team, and Arteta would have been giving him chances like he has given Lewis Kelly and Wanyeri. But unfortunately, he's not there. We have to look at the other forwards that we have, like Keon Edwards. We have also Butler. I can't remember how to say his next name. But
and those guys are 50-year-old coming. Hanus.
Yes.
Harriman.
Yes. There's also Doman as well, but I hear that we can't use him. The Premier League is stopping us from using him because he's too young. So yeah, we have a lot of talent in our academy, and probably this is the best opportunity for them with the striker situation that we are currently in. I'm sure Arteta is speaking with Per Mertesacker and the academy coaches to figure out who is probably close to the Premier League ready at this moment. Butler, we've given him a number of chances with sending him out on loan to a number of Champions League clubs, he didn't really impress me. I don't think he's really done much for us to be say that okay, he's Premier League ready. But let's see what happens. I'm more interested in Edwards, and there's this one guy who is scoring a lot of goals right now in our academy. I can't remember his name. His name has escaped me right now. But yeah, I think that we have the talent in our academy. It's just about finding the right time to bring them in, like with Louis Kelly and Nwaneri. I was always critical about it when it comes to bringing in our academy prospects, but it seems like he has a vision and a plan for these young guys, and knows what he wants to do at what time, and he's looking at them very well. And we'll see what happens because there is talent there, and our Manchester United is stealing our talent, but there is talent there.
Right now to the big question: can the team challenge? I mean, they are challenging, but can they win something this season with this situation? Do you still believe that they can win something?
It's gonna be hard.
Let me go to Daniel.
Yeah.
So this is a tricky question because we've come a long way to this point. I mean, you look at our position, our competition in the Champions League and then the Premier League. In the Champions League, PSV looks like they are a beatable team, but if you beat them, you are going to meet either an aggressive Atletico Madrid or the
grandmaster,
the grandmaster of the Champions League. That's Real Madrid. If you score,
but no, if you beat them, that means you're going to win.
Come again.
If we beat them, that means you're going to win.
If you beat Madrid, you are winning the Champions League because once
you have a certain Liverpool on the other side, and
Liverpool are our local rival, so we will know how to beat them. But for Madrid, you can score 10; they will find a way to score 12. Once it's the Champions League, so you can't. They are unpredictable when it comes to the Champions League. But when you look at the Premier League, I mean, let's be a bit serious. You look at Liverpool and where they are in the Premier League. Okay. They are currently at their worst times. I believe they are worst time now, but they've not lost. That's the issue. They are not playing well. Yes.
22 game of beating.
Yes. So they are not playing the best of football they used to play at the beginning of the season, but they are not losing. That's where the issue is. And then you look at Arsenal at the other end. This is our time to also push and then try to get a couple results here and there. But the issue here is that the more we progress, the more we lose some of our best players. And it's not good for us. Liverpool at the other end are gaining back their injured players. So for us to win the title, the Premier League title, I believe it will take a miracle. Because you look at our fixtures. We are yet to go to Liverpool away. We have Chelsea at home. We have Man United away. Man United, I mean, they can surprise you when you go to their home. So these are some key matches coming up. And then we have Newcastle too coming up. And Liverpool on the other end, they play City tomorrow. Have they played Man U? I think so. They've played Tottenham. They've not played Arsenal. They play Newcastle in about 2 weeks' time. So, I mean, Liverpool we have it all to do as Arsenal because we don't have the players. I mean, we don't have the players going forward to push or to cover up when the fixtures keep coming in thick and fast. Where Liverpool on the other end, they have the players. They can decide to go for a second team in their Carabao Cup. They have a second team for their Champions League. But Arsenal, we only have one team. So, I mean, it will only take a miracle for Arsenal to win this league from Liverpool because I would say Liverpool have the edge over Arsenal in this title race.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. I feel like to say that we are going. I feel like this season, the board gave up on this season in the winter window when we didn't sign a forward. I feel like
It's
in their
true.
mind, yeah, scrapping this window, and then next season is the season they plan on challenging for seriously challenging for the title when they bring in a number nine, which I'm expecting them to do, and bringing in someone to back up, either back up or challenge Martinelli for the left hand side, and also Zupomendi, and then someone to back up Odegaard, which I'm expecting to be Naipan. So I feel like this season, I think the board is sort of saying to themselves, okay, we are just going to challenge, try and do what we can. If we win a title, if we win the Premier League title, good. If we do not, no problem. We'll try again next season. Uh, Same with the Champions League. The Champions League is going to be extremely difficult. I don't.
Leroy, what do you think about Carlos Vela as a free agent?
I'd rather have Bobby Firmino, but let's see.
Firmino, if you try, he could play
Oh yeah,
because
he
mean,
fits Arteta's
he's
system.
free. He's
Yeah,
free
and
to
he fits.
move.
Yeah,
Once
and he
he,
I
fits.
mean, guys, it's in all of this. I just think that they just have to find, even if they get who they want. I mean, they identify that special player that will fit in the system. You need a goal scorer, regardless
Yeah.
of the system you play.
yeah,
And I always remember Luke Dion at Barcelona when Barca were in crisis under Xavi Hernandez. He brought in Luke Dion at the time when Barca needed a goal. He just pops up, he heads, and then he finds the net. So you need players that would, I mean, weaponize their attributes. They are tall, they are very strong in the air. A good cross in the box, and then they
I
get
mean
to a win.
that's why we brought in Merino.
Yes. And I think Marino probably will do that for them. So we'll end it here. If you guys have anything else to share, when it ends, then I guess we'll prepare for the game against West Ham. Wish you all the best. But quick predictions on that one.
So I'll go for an Arsenal win. I'm hoping.
Goals.
Goals. I'll go for a 3-1. A 3-1 with
Right.
Waneri getting at least 2.
Nice one. Leroy.
I for one, I'm going to say it's going to be close. I won't be surprised if Arsenal draw. It feels like every time there's a chance for us to get to 5 points between us and Liverpool, we seem to choke. But I still predict that we would win this match at least by 1 goal. So I would say somewhere around 2-1. Waneri and Miles will be Skelly scoring.
Why
Right.
not Merino?
Now I want Miles to score. People have been.
No, you
have
see,
been my boy Dirty.
But
they
he's not
score,
starting.
I know, but you
there's-
come on
there's more
and
confidence. If they score, there's more confidence for these young
Yeah.
chaps, and
Yeah.
certainly they are the future of the club. So
yeah.
you need them to score more than Marino to score. I think that should be the case. And
Honestly
Saka and
speaking,
other guys.
Marino is doing. Sorry, Waneri is doing such an incredible job. I feel like, my God, this guy is going to be incredible once he develops. I don't know. I'm not going to say Messi like or whatever, but he is going to be an incredible player
But
when he develops.
tactically, Leroy, Arteta used to have this system where when we didn't have a striker, I think 2 years ago, he would just he pushed, how do you call it, Odegaard forward, and then the players would just cut in, and then there was that ozone where he scored about 15. So 15. I don't know why Arteta is not going back to that tactics.
That's something I'm actually always interested in Arteta and his tactics. He seems to always adapt to any situation given to him. I feel like the Leicester game when we weren't winning, the way he adapted his system to sort of get Marino in that box area was incredible. He knows how to fiddle with his system. It's something that I think that we have to give him props for. I think that we tend to look down on him on his failures as a manager, but sometimes we have to look at him and praise him for what he is actually good at. And what he's actually good at is in-game tactics. He's able to figure out how to get the best out of his team, and he builds a very strong a very good environment for his players, and he's also ruthless as well. It's just that sometimes he is sometimes I think he's like too patient about certain players and certain things, but
he will always defend you in public, but then chastise you at the back. So that's what you need from a manager.
Yeah, I think I had this discussion with someone where the person was like, Arteta, sort of like when it comes to he kept on saying that Arsenal didn't need a striker. I saw it as more like he wants a particular striker. He hasn't gotten that particular striker yet, so he's not going to put Havertz or Gabriel Jesus under the bus and say they are not enough. I think that he's someone who's always protecting his players and won't do anything to harm their reputation or the like. So I think that Arteta is good at what he does. I think that with time he's going to develop into an incredible manager. I just hope that we are able to make him happy at Arsenal, him to stay. We all know he's a fan of the club. Yeah, we all know he's a fan of the club. He loves the club, but that does not necessarily mean he will stay at the club forever. So we just need to.
And when is the time for him to leave? If he doesn't win a trophy in the next two seasons.
So remember, I'm sure what to make Arteta leave is if he doesn't get the enough support and Barca comes calling, because he's more of a Barca fan than an Arsenal fan.
If you are okay.
So you say you are okay, but it will only take about 5 games for you to sack Hansi Flick. So I just hope the board will just support him as much as let him be successful. Give him the necessary funds. Let him do what he wants to do. If he's able to achieve his goals, fine. If he's not able to achieve it, I'm sure he'll be the first person to admit that he hasn't been good enough. And then that's what I think.
I just think that I think the same thing. I think that but the problem is Arteta isn't infallible, so he needs someone supporting him who is able to call out his BS when it is BS, and that is why I think we need a very strong sporting director to be his backup. And
we signed Real Sociedad.
Olabo, I can't remember his name, but there's Real Sociedad sporting director. I hope he's going to be someone who is able to put his foot down on certain things and say, Arteta, no, I don't agree with this move, and he's able to just basically keep Arteta in line so that he doesn't go too far with his genius, because we all know Arteta is a genius. But sometimes geniuses are blind to certain things that just don't work, and another solution is supposed to happen. So something like the Isak deal. Let's say Arteta is like, no, I want Isak. Isak is the one I want. And a strong sporting director is going to be able to be like, no, we can't get Isak. We need to get the next best thing. Right now, it's impossible for us to get Isak. We need to bid in somewhere in the ranges of 200 million to get Isak. It's impossible. We also need to strengthen other areas. You get it? So we need a strong sporting director who's able to be like, Arteta, I understand this is the player you want, this is who you want. But we cannot get him at this point. We have other areas to strengthen. So you need to get maybe a Shesko for 60 mil and develop him into an Isak.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, we need that backups. That's a figure behind him to sort of control and make sure him understand that there are certain things you can do and there are certain things you can't do. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Guys, thanks. And we'll leave it here. You see how the club will play out everything in the next few months. But I wish you all the best. And thanks so much for joining me for today, Leroy and Daniel. I'll see you next time.
Right. Thanks for having me.
Watch this, and thanks so much for making this podcast part of your day. If you like this, just drop your comments and also subscribe to the channel. My name is Princeton, and thanks for doing this with us. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye.